Merry Christmas, fishy friends! So today should be Christmas morning if I did my math right. Merry Christmas to everybody. Thank you to everybody who's ever subscribed or watched any of my videos, especially anybody who was a frequent viewer of mine, who has returned for the 12 days of Fishmas and a long overdue absence, well, not a long overdue absence, a long overdue appearance after an unnecessary absence on my part. So hopefully you guys are enjoying your Christmas day. Here is where I will be on Christmas morning, right over here. There's a portion of the wood floor that I'm going to need to refinish as part of my kitchen project. And real quick, I just want to show this awesome chalkboard that my wife decorated. I put a chalkboard wall over here and framed it out like a picture frame on the corner of the kitchen. And my wife busted this thing out with nothing other than chalk. I freehanded that whole thing earlier this morning. And I think it's pretty damn awesome. So Merry Christmas to you and yours. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. I'll see you guys again before New Year's. I am actually over here right now working on tomorrow's video, answering some comments, seeing what's up. Let's take a walk down the spiral stairs. And into the fish room. And we'll give a quick little fish room update on Christmas morning. So, we got a 29-gallon tank with German blue rams over here. Let's see, let's do this. All right, here are the 3 rams, and I think everybody aptly pointed out that there's a particular fish in here that's a female. And then there's the lonesome guy all by himself. Now I'm going to have to move him out of this tank into something different. But for the most part, this tank looks pretty good. This was one of the tanks where I've been able to get to it and focus some attention on it and rehab it. And what I did was I previously had kept a pair of rams in this tank here, and I lost one of the 2. So what I did was I moved the single one that was left over to here. And similarly down here, I shut down this tank as well that used to house a pair of rams, and I lost one of them, and I moved the remaining one out of that tank into here. So what I did was I've combined 3 tanks into one, and make it easy on yourself in the fish room. Rich's Fish's motto for 2018 is to make things easy on himself. It's going to be my mantra. If I can make it easy, you can make it easy. Let's figure out how to keep fish easily together, right? I think that's what I'm going to aim for going forward next year. Here's the red covers. They're due for a water change. Now that it's winter time, I noticed a hell of a lot more evaporation out of these tanks. You know, while I'm standing over here in this corner, I've been talking about my tales of woe recently. There's some water on the floor underneath these buckets. Earlier today, I went to finally hook up the water line for my new refrigerator. For the first time ever in this house, I have a water dispenser in the fridge, and I actually have an ice machine. Guys, it's like living in the future. There's this magic machine, and ice just dumps out of it on its own. You don't have to fill trays. You don't have to remember to do anything. Pretty awesome. I know, you're all jealous. One day you guys will get something like that too, I'm sure. But anyway, so I went to finally step into the 20th century here to add water and ice to my refrigerator. And over here in this corner, as I go to look to hook up, you can see the white PEX that I was playing with today. The PEX goes into a shark bed fitting and across, and boobity boobity boobity, and up into a T. But all of a sudden I noticed that the floor was wet over here. And it turns out that the idiot that I hired to work on my kitchen, he might not be as cracked up as he claims to be. Turns out the moron used a nail gun for the baseboard trim in the kitchen behind the refrigerator, which happens to be right up there where there's a copper line for the heat return from upstairs for the hot water heat system. And the nail pierced the damn pipe and has been slowly but surely dripping for, oh, I don't know, it's got to be 12 weeks now since I actually nailed that base up into place. And I just didn't notice the minuscule little drip because the nail was for the most part plugging it. So I noticed a little bit of moisture. I went up there and started reaching around and started pulling on a pipe, and I popped the pipe off the nail that went through the wall, and water started gushing everywhere. So I spent the better part of today running back and forth to Home Depot, buying various fittings and things, and coming back here and taking care of the issue, which I finally did. And I was also able to hook up the fridge at the same time, which is pretty cool. Let's see, back to the fishes. Here's one of the red cherry shrimps. There's not all that many in this tank. I've talked about how for some reason the population of shrimp in this tank versus the other 10-gallon tank where I was keeping some red cherry shrimp, this population never exploded for some reason the way that one did. I can't focus on the shrimp here. Let's see, there's one back there as well. Oh, cool, I can't focus on that one either. Well, that's awesome. Hey, leave me a comment below. What did you get from Santa this year related to your fish hobby? Maybe you got a way to clean the glass in your tank so that way you can film better, because cameras tend to focus on whatever's in front of them. And that dirt is getting in the way. I can't take a look at the Malapistogramma honksloy very well. Here's one of the juveniles. This is one of the juveniles that has grown quite a bit in this tank. There's one of the females hanging out of that cave. Let's see, there might be one hanging out down in here. I can't really see it though, it's a little too dark. That flashlight go that I had before, I don't have it in my hand anymore. I can't find her. And I can't find any of the other juveniles right now either. There's one of the tiny juveniles hanging out where the male just had been. Oh, the male's still there even. He camouflages himself so well. I wish I could get all of these into a bigger tank, but they're all doing so well in here. I almost don't want to mess around with it. So maybe I'll just leave them in there for a while longer. My daughter's glowfish tank, we're about due for a water change here. Looks like I knocked down one of the thermometers as I was walking back and forth earlier today. I have such a narrow passageway here to walk back and forth, and I had to get behind the boiler and everything, underneath the flue for the chimney, well, the chimney out of the boiler there, and squeezed into that little crevice back there, which was no fun. Red covers. We looked at them a few minutes ago. Empty tank that hopefully I can do something with soon. These are the Tiger Turks. These are 7 juveniles that I picked up from, wow, now I can't even, I'm drawing a blank where I even picked them up. It was Carolina Discus? Erica, I think it was, right? And these were some beautiful fish. They still are, but I had not finished growing them out properly. I had been doing daily water changes on this tank and feeding a super, super high protein, high fat diet, lots of freeze-dried bloodworms, lots of frozen foods, lots of high quality flake foods, and you know, I got the fish to a decent spot. They were off to a good beginning, and then my absence in the fish room struck, so these guys didn't quite turn into what they should have. But they're still healthy. I prevented them from maybe getting as big as they should have and quite as round as they should have, but they're still big, beautiful fish. And I will definitely try again with another round of Discus at some point. But I'm thinking about moving these guys around. Can you guys hear that noise in the background? I'm sitting right next to my dryer, doing a load of laundry as I'm down here talking about the fish. That's all I need is the gas dryer expelling even more heat upon me in this room. I'm sweating. Here's some of the other Discus. Here's a little helper. We just got back from...
I got jingle busted 3 times.
You got jingle busted? Somebody was just out jingling her friends. She was basically leaving bags of candy and supposed to be hiding under the cover at night and ringing a bell and running away, so nobody knew who it was. What elf left some candy on friends' doorsteps? Candy and balloons, but we got busted.
Busted.
Who busted you?
Luca Adriana, and Liz.
And who?
Liz.
Oh boy. Say Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas! It was Karen who jingle busted me.
Gotcha. Jingle busted, guys. So these are the two red Turks that I moved over into this tank with this single Rafflesia / Penang eruption. My wife is very, 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 very upset with me about this. My wife has a particular affinity for this particular discus right here. She calls him Raphael. When I first got these 4 discus, a local breeder sold them to me. I picked up 4 juveniles and I grew them out into a pretty good size and shape here, and my wife was interested in what they were, and I told her they were a cross between a Rafflesia and Penang eruption, and she said, "What, Raphael?" So since I had 4 of them, she took upon calling them the Ninja Turtles, and I had Raphael, Michelangelo, Leonardo, and Donatello, and I've lost a few since. Actually, I've got, I guess this is Michelangelo over here, the one with the gill issue in the back there.
Can I see?
Not right now. So she's always loved the big boy Raphael over here, and she was very upset to learn that he had 2 intruders in his tank the other day. She came down here, took a peek around, and started yelling and hollering at me because I was imposing by adding some tank mates. Where'd he go? But everybody seems to be doing well. He seems to be trying to pick on the other 2 a tiny little bit, sort of show off that he is the dominant one, that this is his house, and this is his tank, and nobody's going to mess with it. But I've been keeping a close enough eye on him. There's nothing, I have no fear that there's any super aggression to be worried about. You know, a tiny bit of aggression, just like we're looking at right now, is to be expected. But nobody's getting hurt.
Raphael. Who's that guy? The one who was...
And then over here, we got the Planet 55-gallon Angelfish tank. The angels looking like they're hungry. These are those guys that I got super, super small. Most of these fish came into me at like dime or quarter sized, and they just got really, really big. And I would like to get some more fish in this tank soon. Add to that school of Riminos tetra, maybe. I've been medicating this tank with the discus with the issue. I've done 2 doses of EM erythromycin and 2 doses of general cure. I'm going to keep a good eye on that and see if that starts to improve. And then I think next up in the fish room is to tackle some sort of rescape and fixing this 72 bow front. I don't know where I'm going to move this rainbow fish to yet. He's a really big red rainbow, and I'm not exactly sure what tank I should put him in. I mean, the only tank that's... The best tank he's suited for right now would probably be the big Planet 55-gallon tank, but not with all those angelfish in there, I don't think. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with him, but I'm honestly more concerned about what to do about this duckweed. I've tried so many times to eradicate this duckweed, and we are back to looking like you could walk on the surface like it's made of concrete. And I hate this stuff. Yes?
Maybe you should, like, cut off all the roots, like it's a real plant, and then take off all of the green leaves.
Well, it is a real plant, and yes, it does kind of have roots, but you can't really cut those roots off. With this particular plant, the only thing I could really do is scoop it all out in a net and make sure there's none left in the water and on the tank anywhere, because there's all those pieces of it stuck to the back glass back there. And stuck on the filters. I might need your help when it comes time to do it. But
I like touching the tanks.
You like touching the tanks? Well, that'll be for a different day, because I am signing off, guys. That's it for tonight. Merry Christmas to all, and I will see you guys soon in the next video.
Don't let the Grinch steal your presents.
That is sound advice. Bye, everybody.